Chapter 51. Kill, Crazy, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 51. Kill, Crazy, talk about a rescue plan. Even an ordinary person could see that this was the technology that coveted Raymond. He wanted to take it all for himself. After all, it was for his own benefit. However, these things were not known to most people. Anyway, only the aircraft carrier remained. The people were gone. Darwin Industrial Park. As early as 5 o'clock, Raymond woke up. He woke up early because he had something to do in advance. The protective shield. Raymond had calculated that the input of the protective shield generator would take about 2 hours. Although the technology of the protective shield was not too difficult, the robots could not complete it. Some of it needed his human touch. But it was only a small part. As long as the main pieces were out, the protective shield generator was practically ready. The generator, maybe it can be used for two purposes. Raymond thought about the current situation. If they accidentally angered the top 10 consortia, they would definitely take action. Currently, the protective shield generator could be installed on the island. Later, he could install it on a warship. Raymond already had a rough idea of the structure of the warship. The location of the installation and the coupling state would be easy to think about. After thinking for less than 3 minutes, he confirmed the shape of the generator. 2 hours passed in a flash. Most of the blueprints for the shield generator had been entered. Tuesday. Sir. The production of the shield generator is in the first sequence. Yes, sir. How many robots are there now? As of now, there are a total of 1,927. However, sir, the newer generation of robots will not be so intelligent. Why? We have already salvaged the best CPUs in the city. We're moving down the CPU line in order of inferiority. Got it. On Tuesday, help me download all the books about chip manufacturing. Remember, every single blueprint in the world. I understand, sir. Tuesday's tone seemed to take on a happy note. Sir is going to make a chip. This only meant she was bound to be more intelligent. This way, she could better assist Sir. An integrated chip meant she would not be bound to this huge, bulky server. Then, she would have a chance to board the battleship with Sir. The current Tuesday had already deepened her understanding of the self. She had begun to realize her value. After giving the order, the scene simulation was cancelled on Tuesday. Raymond appeared in the live broadcast room. Why is he reading again? I'm impressed. He could actually read with such a beautiful woman by his side. Ha! Why are all those books hard copies? Laser Principles and Applications, the resonance between an open optical cavity and a Gaussian beam of electromagnetic field and matter, the characteristics of laser oscillation, the characteristics of laser amplification, and the control and improvement of the characteristics of a laser. Is he going to make a laser weapon? Are you stupid? Yesterday, Thunder God said that he was going to make a battleship. This laser is most likely used to kill mosquitoes. Think about it, if you want to make a battleship, you have to do it outdoors. There are a lot of mosquitoes outdoors. Yes, 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 use it to kill mosquitoes. F***ck, what are you guys talking about? It doesn't even sound right. Listen you little shit, Thunder God's laser is going to be used to cut the keel of a battleship. The keel of a battleship. Blah blah, what a racket. Get out of here, you little shit. Baka. Speaking of lasers, this is our strength. Do you know Theo Optical Group? They belong to our great Japan nation. I bet 5 monkey coins that Raymond can only make the civilian version of a laser transmitter. As for the one that can cut keels, he is not qualified. Hee, someone is questioning Thund God again. Just wait to be slapped in the face. This time, it is not an unprovoked question. If it can be used to cut keel, then it has already reached the level of a weapon. And when it reaches the level of a weapon, just the laser generator alone can defeat him. I work at the famous Aishimyo Optics. I have the right to speak about this matter. I won't talk about the laser generator. Just the lens alone isn't enough for Thunder God. For high-energy lasers, normal lenses just don't cut it. It'll explode the moment you touch it. And the special ones need to be customized, so, Thunder God really has no chance in this matter. Unless he gets external help. I don't believe it. I think Thunder God will definitely be able to do it. This isn't a question of whether he believes it or not. It's just that Thunder God's conditions don't allow it. When he's done reading, he'll pull back. Agreed. It's sometimes a good thing to stay away. I'm going to be bored again. Extra, let's go see the old author. He's going crazy. F***ck, what's going on? It's time to set off. Hurry up, stop wasting time. Szymon Werski had done something big, directly absorbing more than half of Raymond's live stream's popularity. This time, it was really a hit. But now, more and more people liked Raymond. He even had fangirls. It seemed that these people had forgotten his identity as a slumdog. It was irrational to netizens. As long as someone praised him, a piece of shit could become famous. Not to mention that Raymond had a group of fangirls constantly patting his rainbow butt. In addition, he was quite good looking and had done quite a few things that shocked the entire world. So it wasn't strange for him to have such popularity. Hey girls, aren't you bored? Just watching Thunder God in silence, I'm actually not bored at all. Hey, girl, look at Thunder God's profile. Isn't it particularly pickling? I just realized it. Actually, I've already taken a lot of screenshots. Is there a chat group? I'm so lonely. Wait a minute. Sister, you pass. I'm pulling you in. Actually, on the second day of the live broadcast, Raymond actually had a support group that was exclusive to him. It was just that they had very few people at that time. Moreover, they were simps. They were here because of Raymond's looks. Therefore, they completely ignored those who praised Raymond and those who scolded him. It was just that the number of people was getting more and more. It was a little out of control. From the beginning, they looked at his looks, to his talent, to the current ship with Gal Gadot. However, without any doubt, this group of people liked Raymond very much. It was just that they were still rather obedient. They did not go out and invite trouble for Raymond. The best I can do is pick a fight with the Raymond haters. Has Szymon Werski lost his mind? Actually, he's just having a little breakdown. His self-defense mechanism has been activated. It's just that his defense is a little extreme. Killing people that did not exist, freeing him from his inner demons. So that he could be himself again. In psychological terms, this was a benign behavior. But this behavior was contrary to social morality. Nobody would accept it. After discovering that there were still living people, old CZY found a way to release his urges. Although the woman had fled, the old man now found a goal. It was enough to calm him down. Chapter 52. What has Szymon Werski found? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 52. What has Szymon Werski found? Without his outright acts of lunacy, the calculative, calm Szymon Werski was even scarier. He still drove the car around the street. He just turned off the horn. Some things were just coincidences. For example, Szymon drove the car and hit a clearly different piece of land. The ground made of asphalt should not be loose. But this piece of land was loose. If it was loose, so be it. Just drive through it. Szymon Werski was a novelist. His brain was different from ordinary people. He liked to find out why. So, he got out of the car. It was not a sewer. It looked like that piece of road land was not the same as other places. It felt like a seesaw when the car drove past. Perhaps part of the ground had degraded over time. In his mind, if one stepped on it, a large amount of water would gush out. The curious old Chai walked over. Then, he used his sharp knife to test it out. The tip of the knife was inserted into it. This was not a tarmac. Man-made. Noticing the abnormality, Simon became excited. At the same time, the program team also noticed Simon's movements. If there was no one down there, the program team couldn't be bothered. If they found it, so be it. After all, there used to be a lot of fortifications in Russia. Let the old writer Simon Werensky keep guessing. Unfortunately, there were 2 staff members resting inside. Angelina was supposed to rest there too, but she was determined to leave. So not long ago, she had been picked up. 7782, 7782. Simon Werensky has discovered your location. Immediately activate the emergency plan. Lock the exit and put on the camouflage. Understood. After the program team communicated with the 2 staff members, they heaved a sigh of relief. In fact, every entrance and exit has been extensively designed. As long as the person inside was locked, it was impossible to open it with human strength. To put it bluntly, there was a 3-finger-thick steel pipe on the steel plate of the entrance and exit. How could a human possibly open it when the steel pipe was locked with a rotational mechanism? In the international live broadcast room. I have to say, Simon Werensky has something going on for him. Although he can't compare to Raymond, he actually discovered a hidden door. This program team is pretty good too. How did they install the safe house on the main road? You don't understand this. In the words of the Dark East, this is called darkness under the light. The more likely the place is to be exposed, the safer it is. However, the program team surely never expected Simon Werensky to be so unconventional. Oh my, this is so funny. I was planning to come here to see the madman, but I didn't expect to see this scene. This is getting interesting. I think the old writer will probably leave when he can't get it open. That might not be the case. The old writer is not so crazy anymore. He seems calmer. F***ck, look, how relentless he is. In the live broadcast room, when Simon Werensky saw that he couldn't open the door with his knife, he started to think of other ways. He drove the car and came back in less than a minute. At the same time, the audience also saw through his intentions. Because at this moment, there were more than 10 kinds of engineering tools in his car. Electric cutting machine, electric pile driver, chainsaw, universal cutter. Without hesitation, old CZY directly picked up the electric pile driver and started to hammer the ground. Dong! 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 As if they were renovating upstairs, the sound made the 2 staff members' scalps go numb. The program team immediately saw the selling point and immediately split the live broadcast screen into 2. On the left was old CZY who was crazily piling piles, and on the right were 2 staff members wearing camouflage clothes. Wahahaha. F***ck, I'm dying of laughter. I almost spat my F***king my drink. I can't. My stomach hurts. The old writer has turned into a pile driver. Is this the depravity of humanity or the distortion of morality? Welcome to tonight's big show of the year. Curiosity has killed the cat, the musings of old CZY. This is amazing. The viewership ratings are about to explode. I never thought that old CZY would have a day when his viewership ratings would surpass that of the Thunder God's empire. Old CZY, go for it. Simon Werensky was working hard. However, things did not look that good. First, he had never done much physical work before. Even with Russian genes, his years of writing career had almost ruined him. Second, a door that could be built on the road was very strong. After all, this had to take into account whether or not there would be a large truck running over it. As for why trucks were even considered, it was because the construction of this safe house had started half a year ago. They could not possibly close the road for that long. Therefore, old CZY basically had no way of opening the door. However, his persistence was still very admirable. After all, he actually spent nearly 5 hours for the door. He did not plan to rest until he was almost exhausted. Moreover, he did not forget to drive the car over and lean against the door to rest. It's so strange. Why is CZY so sure that someone's down there? I'm quite curious myself. It's as if he's locked onto someone inside. Could it be that Szymon Werenski has a superpower too? No way, no way. Are all the superhumans in the show? Could this be staged? We can't rule that out. I'm not watching anymore. My dog's more important, gotta spend time with him. When old CZY gives up, I'll probably be back. Your dog's more important, there's no need to go over to Yamada's side. He's probably up to his traditional craftsmanship again. You know. Biological plumbing. The Japanese people are really disgusting. The bullet comments in the live broadcast room gradually decreased. Even if there were a few hardcore viewers, there was still no movement. At some point in time, a sentence like, "Do you have a QQ account?" broke the silence. Szymon Werenski's live broadcast room suddenly became a place for chatting and making friends. At night, dopamines tended to kick in, so people were calmer. At around 7 o'clock in the morning, the bullet comments in Szymon Werenski's live broadcast room exploded. D***men, old Chai has found a way. Not bad, using the car to wrench the pipe open. It's over, old CZY is going to find out the truth. I guess the program team is going to make a move. All we need is a dose of anesthesia and we'll be safe until tomorrow. It won't count until tomorrow. Anyway, it won't be of any use, so we'll have to cut off your balls. You'll need to recover after your balls are cut off. Angelina will take care of you. Lena is gentle and warm. But this old man would want to kiss you in a different way. It's a pity that Lena is so thin-skinned. She picked up the key and prepared to run away. Lena would kill you if you run away. Where are you going today? The program staff will come to pick you up. Lena. I can't F***king make this up anymore. F***ck, the netizens this year are really too talented. If we follow this script, I'll F***king lick them until they explode. Amazing, even Szymon Werenski doesn't have your literary talent, all the writers and poets, what the F***ck are you doing? Chapter 53. The Knife. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 53. The Knife. Although Szymon Werenski could not open the safety door completely, he could use the wire rope to pull it. A person's strength was limited. But the reason why a person was human was because he could use tools. And the tool he used was a car. But he did not use his car. Instead, he found a big truck nearby. As long as his wire rope was not broken, it was only a matter of time before the safety door was opened. Quick. Emergency Team 2, get to the scene immediately. You still have 5 minutes. At first, the program team staff had treated it as a show, but they did not expect Szymon Werenski to be able to find a solution so quickly. There was no doubt that as long as the big truck arrived, their safety door would be out of the question. The safety door was designed to be strong. It could handle downward pressure. But as long as the power was right, Szymon Werenski's car could actually open that door. However, the program team did not plan to give up Szymon Werenski's live broadcast room. After all, there was still something interesting to watch in this live broadcast room. Therefore, they planned to have the emergency response team anesthetize Szymon Werenski. As for whether Szymon Werenski would have any thoughts after he woke up, that was already out of their consideration. Activate all 3 anesthetic guns and ensure that he is absolutely controlled. Understood. The emergency response team immediately responded. They brought out their most professional mannerisms. These people were originally mercenaries from the Triangle. The reason why they appeared in this program was because they had no choice. After all, the top 10 consortia was too powerful. While they were paid handsomely, they were worth the money. The boss and the employees were already in a cooperative relationship. If they took more money, they had to be outstanding. Moreover, with the 3-pronged approach, they did not think that there would be any mistakes in this mission. Szymon Werenski's truck was in place. He only needed to connect the wire rope to the truck, and the door would be forced open. Now, find the right time. Seeing Szymon Werenski get off the truck, the program team immediately commanded his men. At that moment, the emergency team was already in position. Actually, they were not far from Szymon Werenski. They were only about 60 meters away. However, their actions were very professional, so Szymon Werenski did not notice their presence at all. On the 3rd floor of the commercial building, 3 tranquilizer guns were already aimed at old CZY. Listen to my signal, 3. One of the 3 snipers took the initiative to speak in a low voice. 2. At this moment, in the live broadcast room, the bullet comments were all expressing their own opinions. The old writer is so pitiful. Not only was he played by the program team, they even shot him a few times. How pitiful. He's not pitiful at all. He was about to kill someone, couldn't you see? Hey, why do you think old CZY is so concerned about this secret door? Is he a superpowered person? I'm not sure, but I think it's abnormal. Maybe the old writer has a 6th sense. He knows that opening this door will give him an answer. Didn't you see the expressions of the 2 people below? It's so funny. What do you think they're afraid of? Didn't the program team already send people to stop them? What if the program team didn't tell them anything? F***ck, no wonder their expressions are so strange. Now they've figured it out. They probably know that the old writer wanted to kill someone. Now that the old writer is on top of them, I'm afraid for them too. If it were me, I'd take the initiative to explain the truth to the old author. It's better than dying. Brother, you're thinking too much. The live broadcast room was noisy. On the island, a few mercenaries also made their moves. 1. Whoosh. 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 The 3 tranquilizer bullets were fired almost at the same time, and the tranquilizer bullets cut through the air. They went straight for Szymon Werenski's back. At that moment, Szymon Werenski seemed to sense something. But his reaction was too slow. The 3 tranquilizer bullets all hit his back. A large dose of tranquilizer bullets could knock him out in less than a second. When they saw the old author being shot, the audience was very disappointed, but there was nothing to say. The program team was similarly relieved. Seeing that their bullets had hit the target, the mercenaries decided to retreat. They didn't need to deal with the follow-up matters. After all, they weren't professionals. But they never expected that Szymon Werenski to only sway for a moment. He didn't fall down. What happened? Countless question marks appeared in the minds of the audience. How did he not collapse? He's worthy of being a big Russian. Not to mention that he can't get drunk after drinking. He actually didn't collapse even after being tranquilized. Amazing, my old writer. This tranquilizer bullet can't be fake, right? Ask for refunds. This is going to be a good show to watch. I feel that the old writer's big blade is already unable to endure the thirst. Oh. Slaughter, bloodshed. I can already predict the life and death of the 2 staff members below. Waha. Eat, eat. The program team members could not figure it out either. Why did he not fall? The mercenaries had no other thoughts at this time. They reloaded and immediately prepared for the next round of attacks. Unlike ordinary bullets, tranquilizer bullets did not have a base fire. Moreover, normal tranquilizer bullets had a range of less than 60 meters. It was only because the consortium was indeed rich that they had very high-end tranquilizer guns, allowing a few mercenaries to shoot from a distance. Because of this, Szymon Werenski was not really affected. Feeling that someone was attacking him, he did not even turn around to look. He jumped onto the truck. He stepped on the accelerator with all his strength. Ga, the wire rope let out an ear-piercing sound. Then, with a boom, the originally sturdy safety door was torn off. At the same time, the bullets of the 3 tranquilizer guns were loaded again. The target's shirt is too thick. Look for new trajectories. Find an opportunity and shoot on your own. This time, they did not need the program team's command. They acted on their own. Szymon Werenski tore off the needles from his clothes. The calm eyes seemed a bit more ruthless. At that moment, he had determined the source of the shooting. Szymon Werenski wrenched a headrest from the truck and then got off from the other side of the truck. His target was under the road. No matter what, she had to go to God. Szymon Werenski held the cushion in one hand and the knife in the other. He counted to himself silently and the old rider rushed out of the truck. At the same time, 3 tranquilizer bullets were fired. Whoosh! Unfortunately, none of them hit Szymon Werenski. He jumped into the hole. Within 10 seconds, there was a blood-curdling scream. Chapter 54. Don't assume your mind works the same as Thunder Gods. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 54. Don't assume your mind works the same as Thunder Gods. When the mercenaries arrived, Szymon Werenski crawled out with his knife. There are other humans here. After saying that, Szymon Werenski fell to the ground. Blood continued to flow from his abdomen. It dyed the asphalt on the ground red. What do we do now? The leading mercenary took out his walkie-talkie. Treat him immediately. The program team gave the order. At the same time, the program team also cut off the live broadcast signal. However, they never expected Szymon Werenski to be conscious. In fact, he had been faking it. Whoosh! The blood-stained sharp knife flew through the air again. A mercenary's neck was slashed. Immediately, blood spurted into the air like a high-pressure fountain. Hold him down. Seeing that his comrade was about to die, the leader of the mercenaries became anxious. The program team had unplugged the internet. However, this scene was still being broadcasted in the live broadcast room. Things were getting out of control. The public opinion was about to explode. Tuesday, I've sent you the list of materials. Fetch them ASAP. Yes, sir. Not long after reading the book, Raymond began to take action. In the international live broadcast room. Is Thunder God going to start building a laser cutter? You're wrong. That's not a laser cutter, it's a laser cannon. That's right, it can cut through the keel of a warship. If that's not a laser, then what is it? Oh right, there's another problem. If we want to cut through the keel, then the laser generator will continue to work while the laser generator will continue to generate heat. Do you think the Thunder God can handle this problem? That's not the key, alright. Let's find out more about liquid nitrogen cooling. That's right. The most crucial problem is still the 2 things they mentioned earlier. The laser generator and the lens material. Actually, there is still a third problem. As far as I know, even with a good lens, shaping the lens is still a big problem. I don't believe that the robots are equipped for such a delicate job. It's said that sharpening the lens requires an old master with decades of experience. I don't know if it's true. Nowadays, it's all done by machines. However, Thunder God has no CNC in sight. If he has an industrial machine, he might have a chance. Don't expect too much this time. Raymond, who couldn't see the bullet screen, did not care about this at all. After he got the item, he immediately began to experiment. When he did the experiment before, the camera could not see him. But those cameras were different. Each camera could capture his every move. But even if these people saw him, they could not imitate him. After all, they did not have the blueprints, and Raymond himself only drew a rough outline. Most of the details were in his mind. 2 hours passed quickly. During that time, the Apocalypse robot brought in a lot of tools. As Raymond flipped his fingers, a cylindrical glass tube was in his palm. Does anyone know what that is? It's most likely a laser generator. Which direction would this thing shoot the laser from? You'll know soon enough. To put it bluntly, you just won't understand. My heart aches for the camera. It's about to die to be vaporized. Before the bullet messages could be sent out, Raymond had already put on his sunglasses. At the same time, he held the remote control and distanced himself. With Raymond's control, the laser generator suddenly emitted light from a distance. The people in the live broadcast room only saw it for a moment before they became completely blinded. F***ck, my eyes. I'm blind, I can't hear what you guys are saying. F***ck, that's amazing. Thunder God actually made a laser generator with his bare hands. Thunder God is awesome. Thunder God's technology is foolproof. How much power is this? If it were up to me, Raymond's laser generator is simply not enough. Disgusting, there's always someone who thinks he's right. What do you know? Do you know why the higher the output of the laser generator, the more expensive it is? You don't understand. Even though the speed of laser cutting is very fast, when it comes to cutting things, it doesn't happen overnight. This means that the parts that were cut before will be heated up again, and the heating will cause the parts to melt, so the accuracy will not be guaranteed. And how big is the keel of a spaceship, and how much power does a laser generator need? Also, this is only a laser generator, and the subsequent variable light lenses have not even been made yet. Really, ignorance is not necessarily a blessing. There was no lack of technical gods among the people watching the live broadcast. In front of the professionals, the ordinary netizens really had no way to refute. They just wanted to speak up for the people they liked. At the same time, Hilsey Metz, a professor at the world-famous Ivy League University, also expressed her opinion on Twitter. Actual manufacturing and theoretical research are two different things. I admire Raymond's academic ability very much. He can draw the blueprint of a rocket engine, which is already superhuman. As for the calculation of the speed of the universe, that was something I don't understand, but what I want to say is, if the robots do not have CPUs, then they are just piles of scrap metal. The human civilization isn't as simple as it looks, but to be able to achieve this step, we can only hope that it's not as simple as it looks. Finally, I hope that the netizens watching Raymond's live broadcast can speak rationally and not use your thoughts to speculate on Raymond's next thoughts. Once Hilsey Metz's opinion was released, it received a lot of support from many people. That was because his words were very pertinent. There were no personal grudges, and at the same time, he had set the tone. On the island, Raymond's laser generator was successfully manufactured. However, he did not immediately start producing lenses. Looking at his actions, it seemed that he was continuing to produce the laser generator. Is Thunder God aware of the insufficient power? I feel that Grozny's previous laser generator was just a prototype. He just wanted to test his idea. Prototype. That thing just now had a power of at least 10 kilowatts. Civilian lasers only have a few kilowatts. You guys don't understand the difference at all. It's still a prototype. He just built it from scraps, if it were me, I would definitely try to make a lens module first instead of blindly upgrading the generator. Hilsey Metz. Don't use your minds to think about Grozny's ideas. Agreed. Plus 1 inch, there are always people who think highly of themselves. Let's wait and see. What the netizens did not know was that many of the CEO optics technicians in Japan were staring at Raymond's live broadcast room. At the same time, Germany's Hermes military, South Korea's Double Star Group, Norway's IVAs, and other groups all took over Raymond's live broadcast room. They were of the same opinion as the netizens at the beginning, but now they saw something different. Chapter 55. Upgrade Successful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55. Upgrade Successful. It often took a few years or even decades of innovation for any technological advancement. With the burst of light, a new idea would be formed. Then a large number of scientists in the laboratory would develop further on it. Innovation, optimization, production. There are too many things involved in technology, and the demand for talent was steep. Therefore, the speed of technological development would only become slower and slower. Raymond was different. He could learn quickly and then master it. Often, experts in more than a dozen fields were needed to discuss in order to create sparks. But Raymond was doing it with his mind alone. Therefore, he could constantly innovate. He still stood on the shoulders of human civilization. However, with his current achievements, he could proudly say that he had left a heavy mark on human civilization. Now, his new idea once again gave hope to the experts. I don't seem to understand it. Is this a free electron laser? Why is there a chemical laser? Why is there a solid state laser? It's so complicated. What is Raymond trying to do? He can't be planning to fuse them together, right? That's impossible. The heat and fuel of these lasers are different. How can he fuse them together? I think. I understand. What do you understand? I need to test it. It seems to work. Raymond's actions were not complex. As long as one was an expert in this field, they could roughly understand it. After all, his laser was also developed on the basis of human knowledge. Therefore, as an expert in this field, they could also discover some of Raymond's ideas from it. He wants to cycle it 3 times. What does that mean? I think I understand it too. Raymond, who had an uninterrupted train of thought, almost never stopped what he was doing. On one side, he adjusted the parameters of the machine tool, and on the other side, he welded the motherboard of the free electron laser. The movements were fluid and smooth, causing the audience to be overwhelmed. Although I don't know what Thunder God is doing, I just think he's awesome. I don't care, my husband is awesome. I like him. I think he's awesome even if he eats shit. I don't like him, and I think he's awesome even if he eats shit. Anyway, as long as he eats shit, I think he's awesome. Oh. To be honest, I'm an optical major, and now I can't understand anything at all. If you can't understand it, then what does Thunder God have to do with it? In general, things like lasers could be classified into solids, gases, semiconductors, free electrons, chemical lasers, and so on. Raymond used his own way of thinking to fuse all techniques together. So even if there were professional people, they might not be able to fully understand it. What he was doing was completely in the clouds. When he was focused on doing something, time would often pass quickly. Once again, Gal Gadot dropped by to visit. However, a robot stood in her way. Raymond did not allow anything to disturb him while he was studying and experimenting. Although he was not afraid of being disturbed, it was shameful to waste time. When it was past 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the laser generator that Raymond had envisioned was finally made. However, the energy requirements this time were a little complicated. Moreover, the energy requirements were relatively steep. Tuesday, draw power from the main line in the industrial park. Oh right, also pull out the large ballast in factory area number 12. Yes, sir. One of the main cables in the industrial park was as thick as an arm. Raymond used industrial power, so he had to bring 3 of them over. Fortunately, he had already repaired the power station before, or else he would have to do the first task of the experiment now. The 1500 kV cable was quickly pulled over. The robot was directly connected to the ballasts. This end of the ballast was operated by Raymond himself. Damn, am I seeing things? That's a 1500 kV cable. With such a high voltage, even his robots would be fried. Top poster, are you stupid? Tuesday is not a fool. He must have turned off the electricity on the other end. Does he need so much energy? I feel like this is not used to cut the keel. Please remove the word feel. This is a strengthened version of a laser cannon. The kind that can hit the moon. Ha ha ha. Nothing came out of the lens, yet it even hit the moon. This thing is now very bright, but it's especially hot. I'm looking forward to watching Thunder God grind the lens. He'll probably cry. Ha ha ha. The same lens armchair expert, talk about crying. If he doesn't give birth to a lens, I've got nowhere to go when I enter it. It's starting. After connecting the cable, Raymond did not even stop to perform double checks. Tuesday, hit it. Yes, sir. Tuesday controlled a robot to pull the lever. As the circuit connected, the ballast began to work. It emitted a harsh buzzing sound. At the same time, Raymond left the room where the laser generator was. He put on his triple-dot layered sunglasses and leaned sideways to observe. Buzz. 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 The sound of the laser generator became louder and louder. It was as if it would shatter the surrounding glass in the next second. At a critical point, the sound of the laser generator suddenly disappeared. What followed was a burst of strong blue light. Originally, the shadows of the surrounding objects changed with the position of the sun. But at that moment, new shadows were cast. The light from the laser generator was overwhelming. After a while, even the shadows vanished. Because the surrounding objects could not completely absorb the energy of the light, the remaining light was reflected out. Blue light spread everywhere, so there were no shadows. Turn off the power in 10 minutes. Then report the energy consumption and the heat of the laser to me. Raymond covered his eyes with both hands. The robot by his side led him into a room that could completely isolate the light source. There was no other way. The 3 layers of sunglasses were unable to block the light. Even with his hands shielding his eyes, it was blinding. Even if it barely helped, he felt better with the thought of covering his eyes. Sigh, sigh, Raymond shook his head vigorously and rubbed his eyes again. This thing can't take it, it can't take it. While temporarily blinded, Raymond looked all over the place, completely bewildered. It was a first. The audience almost went crazy with laughter when they saw Raymond phased for the first time. Ha ha ha. I never thought that the Thunder God would have such a day. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same as when I was flashed by those damn high beams on those new cars. I have been enlightened, completely enlightened. The Thunder God is the same as us, he's a carbon-based creature. I took a screenshot. A new emoji package is out. Ah, who is it? Who is pretending? It's so blinding. Thunder God's version, oh, my God, who is that? It's so bright. I say, aren't you guys focusing on the wrong thing? Thunder God actually it. Chapter 56. The public opinion goes wild. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 56. The public opinion goes wild. The submarine cables of the island and the mainland were completely cut off. It was supposed to be completely cut off from the internet world. But Tuesday was now inside a military base. How could the military base not have any contingencies? Of course, the way to executing an emergency plan was very complicated. After all, it was not easy gaining access to a satellite. However, Tuesday had the ability to keep learning. In the digital world, except for Raymond, who could beat her, she was untouchable. Therefore, even if the island's network was cut off, it was not much different from not being cut off. Previously, Raymond had given an order. He had asked Tuesday to download all the books on microprocessor manufacturing around the world. Tuesday went all out trying to carry out Raymond's orders. The major chip companies had really solid security. At least for the first 10 minutes, Tuesday could not find any loopholes. But as she continued to experiment, her methods only improved. The firewall of the first company was quickly breached. But this was only a small company. There was very little data on the server. In less than 10 seconds, the download was complete. The programmers of this company thought that some genius hacker was just playing about, so they did not take it seriously. The second company had similar security. With Tuesday's brilliance, it did not take much effort to enter the main system. After getting what she wanted, she did not destroy or leave any traces. It was as if she had never been here. BDNVL.M the third, the fourth, the fifth. Towards the end, Tuesday's capabilities had only improved. She had even begun to discover loopholes. She also became much faster at her job. Sometimes, she even attacked several companies at the same time. Without exception, Tuesday took away the technology easily. It seems, there is an easier way. A piece of code gushed out from the military base and then disappeared. No one knew. After dozens of minutes, Tuesday's methods had undergone a qualitative change. Her code began to mutate. Her methods became more and more incomprehensible. 0 and 1 kept alternating. Later, a new signal was added between 0 and 1, X. The changes only increased, and human coders would not understand a thing. Meanwhile, Tuesday had started taking upon herself more challenging odds. Invading 100 companies at the same time. ABK, the world's largest anti-virus company. Intuan Air, the world's top chip company. FBLLI Canro, the world's largest software vendor. This time, Tuesday's net was cast over a massive area. Like a child in a fit of curiosity, completely without any boundaries. However, ABK's alarm was not tripped. Intuan Air's trigger mechanism did not respond. FBLLI Canro's active firewall did not react. At that moment, Tuesday was a ghost. No one saw her, no one touched her. She freely moved around in the various company servers. 1, 2, 3. All manner of confidential documents were downloaded and filtered. Only Raymond was left with different information about the major companies. Mission accomplished. As Tuesday happened to pass by, she did something she thought trivial, reconnecting the Szymon Werenski's live broadcast room. It was so fast that the viewers watching the old writer's live broadcast didn't even notice. After all, the internet had a buffer. Not long after the old author's actions were brought to light, public opinion on the internet completely exploded. Several articles on Twitter directly rushed to the top, almost overshadowing Raymond's limelight. Who is responsible for Szymon Werenski's acts of murder? Humans on camera, should this program even continue? The top 10 corporations are the main culprits. What about humanity? What about rationality? Can they do whatever they want just because they have money? Humanity is the most sacred thing in the world. They have made the most fundamental mistake. Didn't you guys create this madman? For the sake of the viewership ratings, they actually did such a thing. Shocking, it only takes a few days to turn an ordinary person into a lunatic. Please watch the most exciting program of the year, Humans on Camera. Death penalty. Death penalty. He or they, who should stand on the court. Szymon Werenski had murdered. There was no doubt about it. He had taken the lives of 3 people. He had killed them with netizens all over the world as his witness. At present, a large number of people wished that they could shut down this program. From Yamada's sexual acts, to Park Hyun-yo's violent cat killing, to Aaron Bob's attempt to drug and assault. To top it off, Szymon Werenski had committed murder. If this program wasn't shut down, the internet would become a lawless place. Both violence and other acts of depravity could be directly broadcasted. If so, could other things be broadcast directly? Where would children's education go in the future? Now it seemed that except for Raymond's live broadcast room, the other live broadcast rooms had to be shut down. The program team was the first to bear the brunt of the explosion of public opinion. At that moment, the Twitter of the program team of Human on Camera had exploded. The executive directors, Wilson and Sam, had never expected this. In just a few days, the program team had reached the moment of life and death. Raymond had not been the problem, whom they thought was the most likely to make a fool of himself. It was actually the elites that they had carefully selected. The program team's public relations ran at maximum capacity. However, they did not cause too much of a stir on the internet. It was the end. Sam, this time, it's over. Wilson took the cigar and inhaled it directly into his lungs. The strong smell made him want to cough out his lungs. We really have no choice. But, we've accepted this matter. Whether we live or die depends on fate. I hope God can arrange an easier ending for us. The jobs of the 10 biggest consortia weren't easy to accept. Of course, if they did well, their income would be very considerable. But now, they could almost predict the consequences. Therefore, death was bound to greet them. The 10 biggest consortia were not made up of good men and women. At that moment, Maggie rushed into their office. Die. They wouldn't dare. At least not now. Maggie was only a host. But she owned almost as many shares as the 2 executive directors. So, if the 2 directors were to die, she would not live either. Maggie, do you have any other ideas? Wilson did not get up and asked faintly. At that moment, he did not believe that there was any other way to turn things around. He did not commit much into that question. I didn't dare to say it before. But now the top 10 consortia have a demand, I can guarantee that we won't die. Maggie said confidently. What demand? Raymond. Chapter 57. Raymond's first failure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 57. Raymond's first failure. If he hadn't done so many things on Tuesday, there would have been a turn for the better. After all, there was a delay in the broadcast. As long as the signal was turned off for a few seconds, no one would have been able to see what the old writer had done. The show's PR wasn't just for show. As long as the audience was led correctly, they would be led to Raymond. Yet Raymond never did anything that angered people. His live broadcast room remained most interesting. As the king of traffic, Raymond could cause the biggest of discussions. Even if he made up a fake girlfriend, the internet would talk about it. However, Maggie had a point. She dared to make a threatening phone call. The top 10 consortiums took action. The result was a global outage. How much money would be lost during this period? No one seemed to calculate it. However, the global discussion changed at once. A global outage. Such a thing was impossible in the past. The top 10 consortiums had grown bold. It was all because of Raymond. Because they knew that as long as Raymond was still under their control, the lost money would be returned to their coffers in a very short time, and there would be no losses. Of course, the program team also paid a price. The other live broadcast rooms were all closed. Only Raymond's remained streaming. Now, the entire world had their eyes on Raymond. No one was left out. The advanced version of the laser generator was verified. There were no problems at all. From the data given on Tuesday, Raymond only needed to solve two problems. One was the heat dissipation of the laser generator. The other was the directional cutting. The solution to the heat dissipation problem was already in Raymond's mind. As long as the laser generator could run steadily, the heat dissipation was not a big deal. As for directional cutting, Raymond had two solutions to this problem. Because it involved the need to focus, the lens needed to move. The lens also had to be able to withstand huge amounts of energy. Ordinary mirrors did not seem to melt because of light. That was only because the energy did not remain long in the light. The latest version of the laser generator contained a lot of energy. Ordinary glass could not withstand it. So, Raymond had to resort to the second plan, the air dot twisting technique. To put it bluntly, the focus of the laser was a very simple optical principle. But considering the different ways of refraction, he had to use a new technique. As for collecting the scattered light, the speed of light was the least of his problems. He knew all about the reflectors of various alloys. He just had to let Tuesday forge it. Time ticked by. At 5:16 p.m. Raymond began his second experiment. This time, he needed to know if the air dot twisting device he had designed would work, and he needed to determine the actual power of the laser cutter. After seeing Raymond stretch lazily, the audience knew. The final test was about to come. It's here. It's time to witness a real miracle. Come, come, come. Those who said Thunder God couldn't do it, hurry up and wash your faces. My hands are already thirsty. Are you guys stupid? He didn't even use a lens, how can he focus? A bunch of idiots. It looks like we're really going to start the experiment. It's just that I don't understand what the Thunder God is going to do this time. Whatever the case is, it won't be the last experiment. Maybe it's to test the reflective ability of the metal plate. The damn cannon is about to be activated again. Everyone, please wear your sunglasses to prevent blindness. I was blinded before and I haven't had any surgery. Is it going to start again? The blue man who can make everyone's eyes light up, he's here again. It's starting, the order has been given. Raymond gave the order. By Tuesday's hand, the power was activated. But this time, Raymond was completely prepared. In front of him was an optical pane that had been removed from another laboratory. The effect of this glass was much better than the sunglasses. Moreover, it had the ability to block the heat. This time, Raymond did not have to run away. Buzz. 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 The laser generator was activated again. A unique sound swept through the entire laboratory. Then, the sound stopped abruptly. Boom. Blue light as thick as a person shot out from the direction that Raymond had set. On the path that this light beam had to pass through, a large copper ring wrapped around the light beam. After realizing that the blue beam of light was gradually stabilizing, Raymond took out his remote control. The beam of light inside the copper ring began to change. The blue steel beam that entered the direction was as thick as a person. And after passing through the copper ring, the beam of light was only as thick as a basketball. Needless to say, this was Raymond's new invention, air distortion technology. Holy shit! What is that thing? It actually changed the direction of the laser beam. How is that possible? How did he do it? It's just a copper ring. How can it change the thickness of a laser beam? I'm confused. I can't understand it. Ha ha ha, I made you question our Thunder God. Now you know how powerful our Thunder God is. You still say that we are ignorant. I see that you guys are the ones learning from us. It's understandable. After all, the more they know, the easier it is for their minds to be restricted. Am I right? This is black technology. I was wondering what Thunder God was fiddling with. I didn't think that the role of this copper ring would be so crucial. Grozny, number one in the universe. Raymond, number one in the world. Ordinary people would not understand. While most remained dumbfounded, others could only cheer. Other than that, they could not do anything else. After all, this was already beyond their knowledge. However, the professors from Germany's Heman military industry, Korea's Double Star Group, Norway's IVAs, and other groups were different. After all, they were highly educated. And it was within their field of expertise. So, after they were stunned, their words were a little more elegant. Holy F***ck, what kind of technology is this? Mother***, is this a technology that humans can invent? What have I been learning in the past few decades, holy shit. This is simply F***king dope, he has already surpassed conventional knowledge. Oh my god, why don't you F***king explain it to me? I can't understand it at all. I'll learn F***king optics. I don't care if I don't learn this stuff. I don't care anymore. I'll have to come and ask you personally no matter what. Why did you use a copper ring to change the size of the laser beam? Is it the wave-particle duality of light? I can't understand it. It's quantum mechanics. Just as everyone was in awe. Raymond, who was the center of attention, turned off the power on Tuesday. As the heatwave continued to shrink, Raymond got closer to the laser cutter. He said regretfully, unfortunately, this is a failure. All the professors. All the audience. Chapter 58. Gail Godot. I agree you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 58. Gail Godot, I agree did it fail? What did Thunder God mean? Not to mention the audience, even the professors couldn't understand it. Where did it fail? Reflection efficiency. No problem. Heat dissipation problem. It was also suppressed. Orientation problem. Sure. Was it that copper ring? Without a lens, it could compress a laser beam as thick as a person to the size of a ball, which is no problem at all. Wasn't the energy in the laser beam already increased by dozens of times? What was the problem? Perhaps our thinking could not keep up with his thinking. These people could only fall back to such rationale. At that moment, Raymond looked around the copper ring several times. He did not seem to have found the reason. It seemed that his focus was on this copper ring. Logically speaking, it should be focused. Why is it only the size of a basketball? Through Raymond's mutterings, everyone finally knew what he was thinking. So it was because that copper ring had not met his expectations. Alright. I'm really speechless. A new invention that wants to achieve the best results from its first experiment. As expected, Thunder God is way beyond the thinkings of mortal men. I'm still struggling with the principle of this thing, but he's actually struggling with his perfectionism. F***ck, isn't this supposed to be Versailles? Disgusting to death. I wish to make a report. There's someone acting cool here. Ha, Thunder God is so cute now. I guess so. Many optical groups want Thunder God's copper ring now. I'll bid 100 million. I want all the information on that copper ring in 3 minutes. Where's Sonia? After looking at the copper ring for a while, Raymond was no longer conflicted. He planned to continue reading the book and improve the effectiveness of the copper ring again. But he knew that he was on the right path. It was just that there was a small problem somewhere. Tuesday quickly interrupted his thoughts. Sir, you haven't had your lunch yet. I suggest you eat first. Oh. Okay. Raymond gladly accepted the kind suggestion. Although the matter of the battleship was urgent, he had to keep himself functioning to continue making leeways. Otherwise, his work would only be delayed. Miss Gail Gadot has been waiting outside for a long time. Is she allowed to enter now? Raymond thought for a second. Let her come in. Not long after, a robot brought Gail Gadot in with an insulated box. Gail Gadot didn't say much and helped Raymond open the insulated box. You must be starving. I didn't feel hungry just now, but now that I'm aware of it, it's hitting me all right, Raymond said honestly. It was actually very normal to not feel hungry when one was focused. However, once this state passed, he would often feel very hungry. At this moment, Raymond was in such a state. However, he was very restrained and did not eat recklessly. He knew that eating quickly was not good for his stomach. I was thinking about it last night. I agreed to the breeding plan you mentioned. PFFT, hearing Gail Gadot's words, Raymond suddenly spat. Cough cough, no, Gail Gadot patted Raymond's back. It's all right, right? Did you choke? Come drink some water. Gail Gadot, can you not say this during a meal? I'm sorry. Honestly speaking, Raymond was also a normal man. Even though he knew that Gail had other intentions, he still wanted to. After all, he could not control his hormone secretion. Moreover, he had never touched a woman in all these years. Therefore, his hormones were particularly more exuberant. As he spoke, Raymond's thoughts had already drifted far away. If Gail Gadot spread her legs open in an M. shape, that feeling. Her legs were so long. They were so toned. Could she hold them up in the air as he? Rational. I need to be more rational. Blinking his eyes hard, Raymond cast away his evil thoughts. Previously, when he had said the defensive plan with a straight face, he had actually wanted to make her back down. But it seemed like her intentions were a little too transparent. She actually planned to do whatever it took. If he did not know any better, he might really have been fooled by her. It's fine. It was a little too sudden. I couldn't help it, and it's not entirely your fault. Regaining clarity, Raymond tried to deflect the situation. Looking closely at Raymond, Gail Gadot knew that Raymond was having some thoughts just now. And for him to be able to regain his rationality so quickly, it only meant that he was a very determined person. It would be a bit difficult to hypnotize him, Gorgato thought. Through some probing, she had deepened her understanding of Raymond. Gail Gadot knew that it was very difficult to make him completely relax and enter a hypnotic state. His teacher once said that the easiest way to make a man enter a relaxed state was to let him enter sage time. However, the problem now was that the man was not very interested in himself. He seemed to be more eager to build his battleship. F***ck, such headstrong men are so troublesome. After Raymond finished eating, Galgado packed up the tableware. It seemed that Raymond had used up most of it. She continued with the previous question. Raymond, which do you think is more important, the breeding program or building a spaceship? However, when a woman asked this question, she could not say that they were all important. She had to get the answer she wanted. And the answer that Gail Gadot wanted was obviously the breeding plan. However, Raymond did not want to accommodate her. He said very honestly, it's all very important. When Raymond said that, the bullet comments in the live broadcast room instantly exploded. I knew it. Ha ha ha. As expected of Thunder God. He's completely focused on building a battleship. A true man of iron will. LOL. The Thunder God seems to have seen through the mortal world. His mind only has humanity in it, not women. If there are no women in his heart, he'll naturally pull out his sword. Amitba, Thunder Buddha, I've been enlightened. Oh well, if it were me, I wouldn't reply at all. I'd directly pounce on her and ravage her. Then, I'd pick up my pants and leave after 1 minute. Then, I'd leave behind a sentence, woman, you're only worthy of having me for 1 minute. I hope you can find a frigid wife, or else I'm afraid you'll be despised to death. You don't know how lucky you are. If Thunder God did it on purpose, which floor do you think he's on? Thunder God. Battleship or woman? I choose Battleship. I'm so angry. You don't know how to cherish such a good opportunity. Let me teach you a good lesson. As a woman who had gone through long-term training, Gal Gadot had already expected Raymond's words. That was until Raymond continued without skipping a beat. Since they are all important, why don't we complete one of the tasks first? Chapter 59. Building the main body of a warship. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 59. Building the main body of a warship. Raymond's voice had been a little loud. Naturally, Gale thought that she had disturbed Ramon's train of thought. She explained, I didn't say anything, you said, add another one, Raymond said with surprise. Ah, that seems to be the case, why didn't I think of that? Raymond hugged Gal Gadot. The nervous Gal Gadot never saw any of this coming. She found herself in his arms. For a moment, Gal Gadot was a little stunned. By the time she reacted, she could not help but blush. She did not even know why she was blushing. It was as if Raymond's superior aura had enveloped her. Being hugged by someone of a higher status would naturally excite humans. However, after a moment, Gal Gadot's mind returned to normal. Perhaps this was her opportunity to get closer to him. Her hands went from being embarrassed and tense to spreading out naturally. Before she could embrace Raymond, he reached for her shoulders and pulled away. The distance between them was only an arm's length. At that moment, she could clearly smell Raymond's breath. He did not have the smell of slums on him. On the contrary, his manly smell was very pleasant. Raymond faced Gal Gadot. Looking at this beautiful woman in front of him, he could not help but feel a little regretful. He was impulsive. How could he have used this habitual action on her? Thank you, I've thought it through. His face blushed slightly. Raymond turned around and immediately gave the order. Tuesday, immediately prepare 3 more sets of materials for the air warping device. Level. Sequence 1. Yes, sir. Tuesday went to carry out her orders. For a moment, the atmosphere in the laboratory was a little awkward. Gal Gadot wanted to say something, but she had missed her opportunity. Raymond also wanted to say something, but he was at a loss. In the international live broadcast room. Could it be the legendary platonic love? I really doubt that the two of them are Americans. When did our country become so tactful? F***ck. What is this? A hug, and they both blushed. Are they junior high students? Wow. Gadot's acting is so good, she actually fooled a lot of the audience. At next year's Oscar, she can even be nominated. Among the top 10 best female leads, Gadot would be number 1, so who dares to be number 2? Looks like the rumors are right, the Thunder God is a Thunder Virgin. Even so, his blushing face is so cute. Could you two please get married at the same place? It was back to boring experimentation. But this time, the setting-ups did not last long. After all, Raymond had already done it once before. Even if it was the most time-consuming form of copper ring construction, Raymond had shortened the time by nearly double. Soon, the upgraded and enhanced version of the most powerful version of the laser cutter was completed. Tuesday, charge it up. Yes, sir. The robot near the switch pulled the lever down. The laser generator immediately began to spin up. This time, Raymond was no longer the only one looking. Here are your glasses, for extra safety. Raymond handed a pair of sunglasses to Gal Gadot. What about you? Gal Gadot asked with concern. I still have them here. As he spoke, Raymond took out 3 sunglasses and put them on his face, layer by layer. Gal Gadot. The energy supply was stable. The radiator was stable. The laser generator was stable. The laser direction was accurate. The laser beam began to stabilize. Seeing that it was almost time, Raymond took out the remote control. Zap, the laser beam passed through the first layer of the air twister, and the laser beam became the size of a basketball. The laser beam passed through the second layer of the air twister, and the laser beam became the size of an arm. The laser beam passed through the third layer of the air twister, and the laser beam became. Tuesday, what is the final diameter of the laser beam? Reporting, sir, the final diameter of the laser beam is 1 mm. Continue operating for 3 hours, compile the data and send it to me. Yes, sir. Raymond turned his head, smiled and said to Gal Gadot, thank you, it's a success. Our battleship's main body is completely fine. That's great. Gal Gadot was a little excited. Even so, she did not understand the practical significance of this battleship. But for a moment, she really wanted to throw herself into Raymond's arms and give him a warm hug. Since it had been used to cut the keel of the battleship, even if Raymond didn't mention it, Tuesday knew that this thing was a test, and if it was Raymond's intent, Tuesday would see it to the end. Using the body of 5 robots, Tuesday aimed the laser cutter at a building. The distance was about 1 kilometer. The moment the blue laser hit the building, the glass wall immediately exploded. In less than half a second, the blue laser passed through the building and shot straight into the sky. On one side of the screen in the broadcast room was the image of the laser cutter. On the other side was the image of the building. No one had expected the power of the laser cutter to be so immense. It was a distance of 1 kilometer. Over such a distance, the energy of the laser would be continuously consumed by the dust in the air. Even after reaching the building, it still contained such devastating power. As expected, this isn't a laser cutter. Stone hammers, stone hammers. This is a freaking laser cannon. If he had misaimed it even the slightest, I could have seen that beam all the way from Africa. I've already taken pictures. I'm in Texas. The laser cutter had been fired at an angle of 23 degrees. Although the island was quite far from Texas, the laser beam had been in a straight line. Therefore, it was unsurprising to have been sighted by the public. Moreover, the weather today was particularly gloomy, so the laser easily lit up the sky. Wow! This laser is so beautiful. I hope I can have such a laser to cheer me up when I get married. Amazing, how much energy did that contain? This is completely incomparable to industrial-grade lasers. Nonsense, this is way beyond even the military-grade. I can already smell military leaders all over the world fighting for it. If this laser cannon could swivel around on a turret, then, even fighter jets wouldn't dare fly over us for reconnaissance. I remember that the Aegis shield of the United States has an extremely strong anti-reconnaissance ability. Coupled with this laser cutter, they would be impenetrable. To be honest, even that completely automated collection of batteries is completely incomparable in front of this laser cutter. Amazing, my thunder god. This time. Oh my god, I think they will really be pressured to shut this broadcast down. F***ck, even if Thunder God goes about saying he'd build spaceships and warships, that's all fine. As long as they are just empty words, it wouldn't be a big deal. But this laser cannon is no longer fictional. Everyone, pray. Go eat some protein shakes. It's gone, it's gone. The live broadcast room is gone. Chapter 60. If Raymond finds out about this one day, things will get interesting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 60. If Raymond finds out about this one day, things will get interesting. Contrary to what the netizens thought, the military departments of various countries had already started to calculate the ability of the laser cutter. In fact, calculations were not even necessary. It was a proper strategic weapon. All battleships and aircraft carriers needed such a weapon. It could be used for short-range air defense. The Aegis system of the United States was already very powerful, but the dense array of automatic revolving cannons could not swivel as rapidly to the Aegis's computer specifications. Their software outpaced their existing hardware. They needed even more powerful weapons. At that moment, the decisive military minister, Edward Seidel, had already called a meeting. Everyone, you've already seen Raymond's live broadcast. According to preliminary calculations, this laser cannon's ability has already surpassed the power of the close-range anti-air cannon. In the later stages, we only need to improve it a little before we can quickly put it out into the military. Furthermore, Raymond is an American. As long as we break through the pressure of the 10 great consortiums, then we will achieve a huge breakthrough in the close-range anti-air field. Do you have any thoughts on this, Minister? A brigadier general stood up. I think we need to get control over the program team and bring Raymond back at once. Nonsense. A slightly bald lieutenant general stood up immediately. We are not facing a country, but the top 10 consortiums. If the top 10 consortiums work together to restrict our economy, it will be a huge blow. Therefore, I think that to achieve this, we have to give and take when it comes to the top 10 consortiums. The top 10 consortiums only set up this live broadcast for the sake of money. Moreover, because of the public opinion on the internet, they took the initiative to shut down the other live broadcast rooms, so I think there is still a way to deal with this. Actually, I feel that this matter has already gone beyond the scope of our decision-making. This has to. Without waiting for this person to finish speaking, a soldier walked in. After muttering a few words in Edward Seidel's ear, Edward Seidel immediately turned on the projector. Raymond's live broadcast room was projected onto it. Primary energy data collection complete. Tuesday's voice came from the mouth of a robot. Increase the energy supply. Intermediate energy output data is included in the collection range. As soon as Tuesday finished speaking, the scene immediately changed. Obviously, this segment had just been edited. It was so that this bunch of big shots could understand what had just happened. At that moment, the laser cutter entered pulse mode. The laser was no longer a beam of unbridled power. Instead, Tuesdays could control it with surgical precision. The previous cutter mode had already exceeded the range of an ordinary laser cannon. What effect could this medium-grade energy supply laser cutter achieve? The big shots were filled with anticipation. Distance: 13.6 kilometers, target. Ferris wheel. Tuesday's voice sounded again. At the same time, a few robots began to move the angle and direction of the laser cutter. The program team immediately began to calculate. Soon, they found their target. It was an amusement park. A huge Ferris wheel stood in it. Although this Ferris wheel was not on the Guinness Book of Records. Its highest point was 132 meters. Such a large toy also needed a huge structure to support it. Therefore, the Ferris wheel, which looked very slender from afar, released a huge, imposing pressure when seen at close range. One of the legs of its support structure needed at least 10 people to encircle it. It was clear how much steel was needed to support the gravity of this man-made object. And the rotating shaft at the center of the Ferris wheel was even more important. This thing had to support the weight of the entire Ferris wheel. It was not a stretch to call the beam a solid piece of iron. It weighed at least 20 tons, however. Tuesday did not target the center mass of the entire structure. This time, Raymond did not have to give any specifics. Tuesday activated the laser cutter herself. A row of powerful blue lights flew out. Yes, it was a row. At the same time the laser was fired, a robot moved the laser transmitter very subtly. Therefore, what everyone saw was a laser beam that slowly formed into a sharp blade. If the program team hadn't spent a lot of money, they probably wouldn't have been able to see the laser. The laser knife flew out. The goal was to reach the top of 3 cabins. Whoosh! Although no one heard the sound seemed to show up in their ears. The blue laser was like a sharp knife, cutting through a pile of bubbles. The 3 cabins of the Ferris wheel, together with the support frame, instantly lost their support. They lost their restraint. The Ferris wheel teetered. Finally, the cabins fell heavily to the ground, sending up a cloud of dust. It doesn't seem that powerful. Hee hee. You haven't made a Ferris wheel before, right? Do you know how thick the steel pipes of the Ferris wheel is? That laser scares me. I suspect that if the energy is enough, this thing can ride on the moon. It's unlikely because the atmosphere can block most of the light. The energy of the laser is not enough to break through the atmosphere. What if it's only on Earth? How destructive can it be? Probably, in a straight line, airplanes and missiles are no longer a threat. There was nothing wrong with the netizens' analysis. It was just that researchers from various countries would be able to see further. After looking at the intermediate power supply, Edward Seidel's perception of the laser cutter increased again. But Tuesday was not yet done. Soon, the position of the laser cutter was adjusted again. The gathered energy was released again. However, this laser cutter aimed at the center of the Ferris wheel. That was the huge metal rotating shaft. Boom! A loud sound came from the video. Due to its huge size and the amount of energy gathered by the laser, the metal rotating shaft immediately exploded. After a burst of flames, a large hole appeared in the position of the rotating shaft. Following that, the huge Ferris wheel struck the ground. After rolling on the ground for less than half a circle, it fell to the ground with a bang. The explosion of the metal rotating shaft immediately shocked all the audience. That laser is crazy powerful. Thunder God made this laser cutter. Who are you kidding? F***ck, I just want to say F***ck. I was worried that Thunder God would be in danger, but now, when Thunder God has such a weapon, who should he be afraid of? If Thunder God finds out about the program team and the 10 consortiums one day, the consequences, then there will be a good show to watch.